Yes, sir. What's up, good people? It's your boy, the boy Henry Heck, back at it again, but differently. Same, but different. This will be episode 1, the first episode of my podcast, GG or Die, Get Good or Die, right here where I'll be discussing new game trailers, new developments in gaming culture, and a little tech dashed in here and there, and of course some console war comings and goings, because even though the console war is over, we still have console warriors, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, fellas and fellettes, homies and homettes. Let's get off into it. The first topic of the evening from the brothers and sisters over there at Game Rant, avowed grounded developer Obsidian, working on 4 new games, and this individual here say they can't wait. They say they can't wait. Now, I'm not mad at the studio working. I'm not mad at them putting out games. I like it. I love to see it. Whether your projects do extremely well or not, I still like to see people with their head down, grinding it out, and getting busy. And Obsidian has indeed been doing that. You know what I'm saying? You can call them what you want to call them, but you can't call them lazy. They ain't just sitting there twiddling their thumbs, crying and complaining. They working. And sure, the games they produce aren't super stellar games, but they putting out games and people enjoy them. They got a fan base, like this individual right here who produced this article, whom says he can't wait. And also, it might just not be my cup of tea. You know, initially I was looking forward to Avowed. I did want to check it out, but this was when the first visuals were shown. You know what I'm saying? This was before it all was, in my opinion, downgraded and made fruity. You know what I'm saying? The whole bright and, I just don't, care for that. But it's some individual. Yeah, I even know an individual who really digs the combat inside of this game, Avowed, that is. And then Grounded is their live service joining. People seem to enjoy it. I ain't check it out. It's over on PlayStation Nation now, and I'm not. No, I'm cool. But let's get off into this article. This good individual produced Matthew Schomer. Obsidian Entertainment, one of Xbox's most recognizable development subsidiaries, reportedly has 4 upcoming games in the works, which should be a boon to its parent company. Xbox has faced a lot of criticism over the past several months, but the arrival of 4 new games from Obsidian could do a lot to repair its rapport with the gaming public, if these games are good, and also if these games come out. Xbox has shut down a ton of games. Wherever Wild at. Where Perfect Dark at. So just make it, and this is another reason why I really don't like the idea of information coming out about how many games the studio is working on, because it's sure they might be working on 4 games, but one of them won't come to fruition. Then you got people wondering what happened. Then you got people mad and upset about something they really ain't had no business knowing about. These games could be very, very early in the planning process. Some of them might not even make it out of planning, and not to say they'll be shut down, but just some of them might not even make it. Some of the ideas just might not get flushed out enough, or they hit a speed bump or a roadblock and decide, we just gonna go in a different direction. Just as a studio, Microsoft might not even say nothing. Them as a studio might just say, you know what, we went as far as we can go with this idea, and we're gonna stop right here and carry on with this other idea. Right? So that's why, in my opinion, a studio shouldn't say what they're working on. They should just show it when it's in a state worth showing. When you got some gameplay, when you got some character trailers, when you got a story overview with a cinematic trailer, something like that. If you don't have any of those things, then this kind of information is pretty much useless to a game. You can't get excited for nothing like this, especially in this day and age, when knowing what we know now as far as stuff getting shut down, people leaving, studios getting shut down, all kind of negative things that are happening inside the gaming industry right now. It's really nothing to get excited for. It's only something to get worth getting upset about, or annoyed with, or angry about. Carrying on. Founded in 2003 by 3 former employees of Black Isle Games just before the latter studio closure, Obsidian has been the driving force behind many top-rated RPGs over the years, establishing itself early with Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, Fire, The Sith Lords in 2004, and Neverwinter Nights 2 in 2006. I didn't play that one. Since Obsidian was acquired by Microsoft November 2018, wow, could not get that out. The studio has continued to consistently release we're going to use hits loosely, but like Outer Worlds, Grounded, and Pentiment. And 2025 was its biggest year ever with the release of Avowed, The Outer Worlds 2, and Grounded 2. I'm going to be honest, I've not heard nothing about no Grounded 2. I'm going to keep it all the way true with you. And like I say, we're going to use hits loosely. This individual just likes this studio. That's really what this is. This individual is a fan of the studio, and ain't nothing wrong with that. But when you just talking to the general public or general gaming community and you say stuff like that, like, what? You talking about hits. This joint didn't get none of these joints got game of the year. None of these joints was up in there. Was even in the running. Some of these games, like Grounded, I've not heard a soul utter anything about no Grounded 2 until I read this article right here. Right here. Carrying on. Obsidian reportedly has 4 games lined up for Xbox, with 3 big games having launched within the last. Bruh. This individual put 2 seasons on this studio, bruh. And I'm not even trying to come off as a hater, but we gotta keep it real. We gotta be realistic when we describe stuff. Obsidian doesn't seem to be resting on its laurels, as a new report from an industry insider suggests that a lot is happening at the development studio. Insiders are probably the worst thing to happen and pop up inside of gaming. Period. Especially this gen. It's just people spreading hearsay, people spreading rumors, people spreading their own opinions and then saying, oh, my source is, it ain't no source, you are the source. You just feel like saying it came from a source validates whatever rumor or opinion you have, and you putting it out there in the public and people gonna run with it just because you are now validated by having sources. A lot of the times it's nonsense. 9 times out of 10 is bull jive. Jez Corden of Windows Central recently reported that 4 more games are currently in the works at Obsidian. Another individual who just not consistent in what they report at all. But that's neither here nor there. Jez Corden of Windows Central recently reported that 4 more games are currently in the works at Obsidian. While he didn't provide too many specifics, of course not. Of course he did provide those specifics. On the contents of these games, he said he has heard, more hearsay, that they will be a mix of smaller and larger titles. There's a possibility that some or all of these games could be revealed at the Xbox Developer Direct Showcase on January 22nd. Well, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. But in the meantime, fans can still speculate about what kinds of games may be coming down the Obsidian pipeline. Now, we do have the lineup for the Direct. We do. And it seems to me that this individual has been wrong again. Tisk. And of course, they always leave room and with using certain words where they never say specifically or definitively. It's always speculatively and maybes and ifs and perhaps and these kinds of things. But then they also enjoy the title of insider. These are persons you ought to be able to look to give credible information. These are folk you ought to be able to bet the house on. Moving on through. Shout out to Always Discreet. You know what I'm saying? Bladder Leak. You feel me? One franchise that could see a game released under Obsidian's development is Fallout. People love Fallout. The show has been doing extremely well, though the performances and releases of these games have not always started out in the best of lights. Bethesda, which is also owned by Microsoft, has been in charge of the franchise for close to 2 decades. And although fans are wondering when Fallout 5 will be coming, Bethesda is certain to be at the helm. However, many members of the crew at Obsidian have been working on Fallout games since the early days. These include Obsidian CEO Fergus, shout out to that individual, and Chief Information Officer Darren, and the recent return to Obsidian by Fallout series creator Tim Kaine in December could very well be an early sign that these developers will get another shot at making at least one more game set in post-apocalyptic America. That would be dope. I know the fans would enjoy that, especially when you call out some of the names that they've called out inside of this article. You know, main thing about these games is this performance. Main thing about these games is the content. As long as they nail those, it'll be smooth sailing. Smooth sailing. And carrying on, Bethesda Game Studios executive producer Todd of the Howard may have provided another clue that hints at Obsidian's return to the franchise. During an interview that was shared in early December, Howard was asked about the potential of Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas remasters being created. His response included a statement that Bethesda is working on a whole bunch of stuff. And you know, we look forward to the day that we can reveal them. That is not an outright commitment to both remasters, but while Bethesda produced Fallout New Vegas, Obsidian handled its development. And the fact that those comments were shared just days after Kaine's announcement of a return to full-time work at Obsidian may be turning some heads. I can see how people could speculate and put that together. I can see. And good on Todd of the Howard for not, putting too much seasoning on that question. He just said what he said and kept it pushing. Of course, you don't. Even though me, personally, if somebody asks me something like that and I know for a fact we're not working on it, I'm going to just say, no, we're not working on it. And that could be a lie. We have seen individuals just straight up say they're not working on something and they are working on something. So it's just one of those things where I don't think it's a productive question, because they never going to explicitly say yes or no. And even if they do say yes or no, it could also not be true. So, but I can also understand how individuals just want some more information on what may or may not be happening with a franchise that they enjoy, from a team they enjoy. Aside from Fallout, there are a lot of possibilities based on Obsidian's past releases, not to mention any brand new IP that may be revealed. A new KOTOR game can possibly be ruled out, since Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic's release will be handled by Argonaut Studios, and another South Park RPG is likely off the table, since the Stick of Truth storyline has been carried over to 2 different games by 2 different developers, neither of which are Obsidian. Still, both The Outer Worlds and Grounded gained enough popularity to earn sequels in 2025, and there hasn't been a new Pillars of Eternity game since 2018, which could make them all candidates for another sequel, along with Pentiment. You could tell this individual right here loves this studio. This is a true fan of this studio, and I, as an individual, I wouldn't suggest being a fan of a studio, because people leave, IP changes, production changes, all kind of things change inside of a studio, and it could, in the flip of a hat, a flip of a quarter, a flip of a dime, that studio could cease being the studio you once fell in love with. So I enjoy games, I enjoy IP, I enjoy the work that's presented at the particular point in time. I'm not gonna jump out the window and be a fan of a studio, because all too often we've been let down as gamers by studios who we once enjoyed works from. This joint said Pentiment. Goodness gracious.
And that's the end of that article. Like I say, I would like to see what they working with, what they cooking. And I do think that's a good studio, a good reliable studio. Even if everything, you can't bat a home run every single time you step to the plate. It's just not realistic to expect a studio to do that, especially when you're producing at the rate they're producing. It would be nice. They should be able to do that, but like I say, you got different individuals coming in and out. You got different individuals heading up projects. It's a whole host of things and variables that come into play when you have a studio, especially when you're underneath Microsoft. When you're underneath Microsoft Gaming, you just never know. You just never know. The way the wind could change directions and they shut your joint down. And that's just what the games industry has become over these last couple of years. But I commend them, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they present to the people. If it's something I'm interested in, I'm not above checking it out. I will most definitely check out something that looks interesting to me, and I'm able to if it comes to the 5. But again, we have to wait and see. They didn't really give no details, and the individual who was presenting the information was a fan of the studio, and certain biases has been sprinkled in there, and then they quoting people who miss constantly. It's just my whole reasoning for even bringing up the article was the studio is working. They head down and working, and that's what I like to see in the games industry. I love to see a studio working on whether or not they produce the game of a year or not. They still focused, they still on task, and they still got their eye on the prize, and that's what I appreciate. I appreciate individuals who working hard and who focused. I like that. Now moving on to the next topic of the episode. Keeping in line with some Xbox paraphernalia, some Xbox news and subject matter, they have officially announced their developer direct, which will be on January 22nd. And they will be showing Fable, they will be showing Forza Horizon 6, and they will be showing Beast of Reincarnation. Shout out to Jez. Shout out to that individual and his riveting journalism over there. All right, man. Let's see what they talking about. Carrying over Xbox Y. 2026 is going to be an incredible year for Xbox players. You might even call it a fabled year. To celebrate, we're kicking off with the 4th installment of our Developer Direct broadcast on January 22nd, bringing you new gameplay and insights directly from incredible teams working on titles coming this year. Now, I am a fan of these directs. I think they do an awesome job with the pacing of them. I'm always keen to learn more about some games I'm interested in and how they spend the right amount of time with the talking and the right amount of time on when they're showing games and gameplay. I like it. I think they do it masterfully. This is where they kick PlayStation tail at. They kick their tail over here and doing these type of shows and on accessories like different colors and customization, all kinds of stuff. They run in circles around PlayStation when it comes to that, and I ain't ashamed to say it. I am looking forward to, though these games they're gonna be showing gonna be some highly anticipated games for a lot of people for sure. I'm more so looking forward to Fable. I'm a huge Fable fan. I remember when that first Fable dropped. It was supposed to be, we know what it was supposed to be when we seen them interviews. And though it didn't measure up exactly to what it was still a fun game. I had a ton of fun in that game, and it was great. It was a great game overall, though it did leave a lot to be desired, but that's only because of how it was initially described. Presented by the game creators themselves, Developer Direct will once again give you an inside look not at just the games, but the studios working to bring them to life. Fittingly for Xbox's 25th anniversary year, that includes the return of some of our most legendary franchises with rub shoulders with a brand new title from one of Japan's most beloved studios. So they got a brand new IP over here. And I do love to see that. I am looking forward to what they show in regards to this game, Beast Reincarnate. I'm looking so forward to that. Because that's exciting to me. That's exciting. New IP is always exciting to me. New stories, new characters, new gameplay mechanics perhaps, visuals, lore, themes. Come on with it. The show includes not just one but two titles from Playground Games. Shout out to Playground Games. They out here working. Playground Games is getting busy. And you, if you'll notice, Microsoft Xbox Gaming owns multiple studios that got multiple things popping off. Whereas over on PlayStation, one studio doing one thing at a time, which is cool. They do end up being great, and maybe Xbox Game Studios should do that. But it's also exciting to see and know that the studio busy. They working, they producing, they cooking up. Yeah, they cooking. Let them cook. These people over here cooking multiple dishes, baby. You ain't just waiting on the pot roast over here. You know what I'm saying? You getting some crab legs. You getting a little garlic shrimp, butter pasta. You getting some flatbread pizza. You getting some garlic parmesan bread and a Caesar salad. You know what I'm saying? Now, with they track record, it be mid food. I ain't gonna lie to you. It be Olive Garden. But I like folks working, and they can tweak a thing or two over there just to enhance their quality a bit. And again, we ain't got these games, so we don't know. This show includes not one but two titles from Playground Games, with the UK studio bringing us a first extended look at Fable, as well as the debut of gameplay for Forza Horizon 6. I think that game is going to be huge. I also think it's going to be the first $80 game from Microsoft Xbox Studios. But we'll see. I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful game. I'm sure the gameplay, the cars, the setting is going to be crazy. That's going to be a dope situation for Microsoft Xbox Game Studios over there. That game is going to go crazy, I think. We'll also be taking a trip to Tokyo to visit the legendary Game Freak, offering a first in-depth look at Beast of Reincarnation, which we revealed at Xbox Game Showcase last year. Now, this game, I made a video about this game not too long ago. Probably it was a little bit after the release of Pokemon ZA, and I expressed my frustration with how Pokemon has been looking and playing and performing with the visuals of this, because there's been a trailer out. And this game look crazy. This gonna be a joint right here. I believe. And based on these three games alone, this show is gonna be a spectacle. I'm low-key excited about this joint, to be honest with you. I'm low-key excited. I can't wait. I'm setting the date. I'm setting the alarm on this joint. Cause this right here, though I will say I'm not as hyped for Forza. I think it'll be an excellent game. I think it's gonna do well for him. But I'm more so, that Fable. And then Beast of Reincarnation a close second. Cause it looked damn good. Fable Playground Games welcomes players back into the fairy tale of Albion with the first in-depth look at Fable, one of 2026's most anticipated titles. That's a fact. Devs from the Playground team will unveil the magic and mischief that awaits players in this fresh new beginning for the franchise, including a first look at some stunning new gameplay. Of course, the core themes of Fable will be there: choice, consequence, drama, action, British humor, of course, chickens. All reimagined for existing fans and new players alike. I'm with it. Looking forward to it. We seen that combat from the game a bit ago, and though it wasn't buttery, I see what they was going for. It's very Witcher-like, and I wasn't mad at it. I think it's gonna be cool, and I'm looking forward to what they present inside of the game for the boys and girls and for the people all together. Hopefully, there's a bit of customization. We're able to fully armor the character up, whatever armor we want. Not whatever armor we want, but of course armor that's fitting of the setting and the themes. But and able to put together some builds, some cool builds, cool armor sets. Individuals were speaking to how the character's face look. I don't really give a fuck about that, especially if I could put a helmet on that broad. If I can put a helmet on that broad, come on with it, man. I'm in there like swim up. Swim up. You feel me? Forza Horizon 6. The Forza team from Playground Games will share a deep dive on the much anticipated Forza Horizon 6 as the open world racer takes place to the beautiful and contrasting landscapes of Japan. The segment will deep dive into a very first look at gameplay, including reveals of new features and how Japan comes to life in its stunning new installment. They picked the winner as far as location. They knew what they was doing when they picked that location. We're gonna scroll on through Beast of Reincarnation. Join us as we delve into Game Freak's intense one-person one dog action RPG. For the first time, Game Freak will reveal details of our protagonist Emma's innovative plant manipulation actions and gameplay with her canine companion Ku. In Beast of Reincarnation, a profound and dangerous world unfolds in post-apocalyptic Japan. Discover the development secrets behind its creation in Developer Direct. Stay tuned for our official social. Wow. Stay tuned to our official social channels for more from Developer Direct, airing on Thursday, January 22nd. January 22nd. I don't know what's going on. At 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. UK. I said all that I've said today. I'm not taking off work for this joint, bro. I'm not. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it at work in between whatever I'm doing and then catch the highlights after the fact. It's gonna be a dope time. Damn good time. I'm looking forward to this. Like I said, the games that they plan on showing the people are some solid games. This is a solid lineup right here. They know what they're doing, and they cooking. They cooking indeed. On to the next one. Now, back to some games. And one of the premier Ubisoft franchises, one I thoroughly enjoy. I'm a huge Division fan. Division 1 was... I remember the lead up to Division 1. And it was one of those midnight release games that my local store did participate in. One of the few. And the hype I had around Division 1 was just crazy. The premise of it, the whole Black Friday spreading of a contagion and the world stopped and all kind of stuff went, man, it was super interesting to me conceptually. Super interesting. I was just all about it. Like, you had people who were your next door neighbors being called to action, and there was this secret part of this secret, government group, and the whole it was just heat to me. And then for the second one, and then what happened in the actual world, the whole thing, the whole idea of Division was just dope. And I'm a huge fan of what they created with that franchise. And so what I have here, what I will play for the boys and girls and play for the people, coming from Massive themselves, some information. Let me roll this.
Production, right? This is not a secret. It's been announced. It's shaping up to be a monster. I can't really say anything more than that, but this is within these walls in Massive. We are working extremely hard on something that I think will be as big an impact as Division 1 was. The Division 3 is...
Amen. That right there excites me. That excites me. I was a huge Division... Like I said, bro, I'm just a huge fan of the series altogether. Now, we were speaking before about biases from that first article I read out for the boys and girls. And this right here, this is me being biased. I'm hyped. I'm ready. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to play it. This is gonna be day one. I don't care where it happened between now and then. As long as that game come out, day one for the boy. Day one for the boy. I'm with it, bro. I'm with it. Third person, shade, tech. I don't know where it's gonna be. I don't even care where it's gonna be at. You know what I mean? We had Washington, we had New York. Where else they can take it to? Let them mess around and take that joint. Let them mess around and take that joint to Tokyo. Huh? Bro, come on. The possibilities. And you hear how he talk about it. And of course, he gonna talk his own game up, but they aiming to make it big. They aiming to make it a return to form. They aiming to make this, and make no mistake, each time Division dropped, it's broken records. This is a huge franchise for Ubisoft, for players. You know, sure they dropped the ball a bit when it came to Div 2. Sure they did. Content-wise, sure they did. But they've been slowly, steadily ramping back up development, ramping back up, giving those boys and girls over there resources and materials and whatever they need to re-thickify Division 2. And everything they've been producing over there henceforth has been good, and I'm sure it will continue to be good. The community over there have been loving it. They've been eating it up. Little salt, little butter, eating it up. You know what I mean? And that's great. That's great. I love to see a franchise I enjoy reinvigorate. And they got a mobile game coming for the game. Resurgence. Been waiting on that. Hopefully that come out this year. I'm gonna participate over there in that. It's gonna be a good time. If you're a Div fan, it's a good time to be a Div fan. Great time to be a Div fan. Hopefully we get, and I'm not even a game, movie, or TV show type of individual, but we supposed to be getting this, when this movie drop. Supposed to have Jake Gyllenhaal in there. When that coming out? Cause this year, one thing I am doing this year, I'm getting back in the theater. I'm getting back into the cinema. I'm getting back to sitting my tail down, buying my wife some overpriced popping corn. Might even get myself a hot dog or two, and sit my tail down, leaning back up in that seat and watch myself film. Oh yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. That's another thing I'm getting back into this year, 2026. Cause I ain't been to the movie theater for myself in centuries. We take the kids, go see whatever they want to go see at the movie, but I've not been excited to go see a film in centuries. You know what I'm saying? The Odyssey was the first film that's like got me rehyped and invigorated to get back up in there. So I'm going to check that out. I'm going to check out Mercy end of the month. You know, some films dropping it. I'm going to go check out, and of course I will be talking about them inside this new podcast right here, GG or Die, for the boy. But back to the Division, great. I'm super happy, super glad, I'm elated. Ain't nothing else I can say about it because it's not much to say about it. I just really wanted to, express my excitement for what's going on and what's moving and shaking, like Kevin Bacon over there at Ubisoft. Cause Ubisoft get a lot of hate. Is it deserved? A lot of it is, but a lot of it isn't. Ubisoft is one of those companies where people just like to dislike them, and I hope they stay around. They, like I said, they actually make quite a few games I enjoy. I enjoy For Honor. I suck at Siege, but Siege is fun. They make Division, of course, which is what we talk about right now, a hitter. Assassin's Creed. I recently got back into Assassin's Creed. I'm actually playing through Shadows right now. Not like right now, but currently in my game rotation, that is my main game, and I'm having a darn good time. It's fun. It is fun. A lot of good stuff in that game, a lot of good mechanics in that game, and they make good games. It's just that when certain individuals of the company do interviews and they say certain stuff that could be easily spun around to, because I remember I had to put on my save Ubisoft cape quite a few times this past year, to where something will come out and then people will spin it, and it's not exactly what was said. I mean, they do come out and say stuff, and it is exactly what, and it's some bulljive. But they'll come out sometimes and say something, and it get clipped, and then you gotta come in and save them. And well, you don't got to. I just do, because a lot of people, especially on TikTok, they go, well, because all it is over there is clips. It's just clips, and that's how people monetize and get their money. So they gonna say something inflammatory. Even if it ain't inflammatory, they gonna spin it to be inflammatory. Whole bunch of negativity, whole bunch of likes, whole bunch of comments. And that's how they get paid, which, hey, go get paid. I don't do that, but go get paid, you know. But shout out to the division, shout out to Master, shout out to Ubisoft. I can't wait on this for this one. It's gonna be a dope time over here. Let's move on to the next thing. Here we go. We're gonna talk about Arc Raiders, a game that's been taking the gaming industry as a whole by storm, and which is a surprise. It's a surprise because you let people tell it. We hate multiplayer games and live service games and things like this, but this game pretty much came out of nowhere because originally it was supposed to be a PvE looter shooter type of game, and when people found out it was going to be an extraction shooter, they started shitting on it immediately. They flipped the switch and shitted on this game tremendously, and then that first beta popped off, people loved it. And since it released, it's been crushing. It's absolutely been crushing. It's not, they ain't took their foot off the pedal when it comes to this game. Players are crushing it. Steam numbers are crazy. I'm sure console numbers are crazy. And what recently happened though, you got these streamers. As always, it's always them. Got the streamers upset about cheating and making their videos and making their clips and talking about, you know, let me just read a synopsis of the comings and the goings. Top streamers claim cheating crisis in Arc Raiders. Popular streamers like Shroud, Ninja, and Nadeshot are frustrated with rampant cheaters and stream snipers in Arc Raiders, the extraction shooter that sold over 12 million copies since its October 30th, 2025 release launch, and currently hit 3.2 million daily users. That is fucking crazy. Obviously, this is not necessarily at one time, but throughout a 24-hour period, you know, 3.2 million individuals hopped off in that thing. They describe lobbies filled with suspicious level 0 profiles of VAC and VAC banned accounts, worse than peak Call of Duty. I think that's a bit much, especially in aggressive PvP matches where skilled players cluster. Embark Studio uses easy anti-cheat and plans patches soon after a team vacation, while emphasizing the game's PvE core over PvP competition. No leaderboards are coming. Now, this is another thing too. A lot of people, when this came out, a lot of people took to the internet to say, "See, it's PvP ain't the purpose. PvP." Nobody ever said PvP was the purpose. Nobody ever did that. What people were saying is a part of the game. And initially, the developers themselves said they added PvP in there so the game wouldn't be boring, to add more tension and things to the game. They didn't necessarily use that word. I threw that in there. But they did say without the PvP, it was just boring. And as far as the cheating situation is concerned, that just comes with, when you're a streamer, you're going to get stream sniped and you're going to experience a certain level of gameplay that the average individual ain't necessarily going to experience. If you're playing casually, you're not necessarily going to experience things at the rate of people who play for a living. And this is all they do. They don't do nothing but this. From the time they cut their stream on, this is what they playing to the time they cut their stream off. And then they doing it the next day. And the next day, they doing it day after day, week after week, month after month. This is a unique experience. What I don't like about this is when they then make comments and kind of lean to, oh yeah, well I'm gonna not play no more. I'm gonna go play. What you gonna go play? What you gonna go play? That's what I got to say. Like, I get being upset, I get being frustrated, but at the same time, you ain't gotta be a bitch about it. And it come off as being a little bitch. Oh well, I'm gonna take my ball and go do that. Go, don't talk about it, be about it. You that frustrated, you that upset, okay, I got you. We'll go play something else. What you gonna go play? Well, that's why I wanna know. What you gonna go play? You gonna go play Battlefield? No, you're not gonna do that. You gonna go play Marvel Rivals? No, you're not gonna do that. They do that because they feel as though, since they're such a big name and they have such a big audience, and they feel as though it's the game is flourishing because of them. That if they take their talents to South Beach, that then the whole player base is gonna follow them. Embark is gonna lose out because Nate shot left. Embark is gonna lose out because Shroud left. I don't think that's the case. I do not believe that's the case. Will some people leave? Sure. But another thing too is with this game, it's not much else that's gonna offer you what this game is offering. As from a gameplay perspective, what game you gonna go play? Even as, and I'm not saying that Marathon is gonna be equal to Arc Raiders. I don't believe. I'm looking forward to Marathon. That's gonna be my main game when it drops. That's what I'm gonna be playing. But I wouldn't dare say that it's gonna be as big. I don't even think it's gonna be a fraction of what Arc Raiders is. These individuals gonna jump off of Arc. They're gonna go play Marathon for probably a week, then come back to Arc. That's what's gonna happen. Whatever other game they think they're gonna run to, they're gonna be over there for a split second. Then they're gonna be right back over here at Arc. Right back over here. So it's an empty threat, to be honest, when you say stuff like this, because you're not gonna go nowhere until the next popping game drop, especially after you done said something like this is the next Fortnite. Where you gonna go? You ain't even going to Fortnite, and Fortnite is the king. You ain't even over there. You know what I'm saying? And we are getting a ton more. Well, not a ton more. We are getting more extraction shooters in here, and maybe one of them come out and they able to grasp the culture in a way that Arc Raiders has done with itself. Maybe, but for right now, you ain't living in maybe. For right now, you living in Arc Raiders. This is where you getting your views. This is where you getting your donations. This is where you getting your subscribers and follows. This is where you getting your money. And as frustrated as these guys, they not finna leave. This is what they do. They not finna leave. Cause you leave, somebody else gonna pop up and take your place. That's how it goes. Cause the people watching ain't gonna stop watching. They not gonna stop watching. They gonna find the next new high individual. If you in a squad, let Shroud drop out. They gonna put another CC right there in this place in the squad. That's how it's gonna go. That's how it goes. When you will get this game is hot. This game is hot still. Months and months later, hot. This game got something special. And you know that's just a tactic that these streamers and content creators use to kind of force some action to be taken. But like, bro, when you that huge, you got a line to the studio. You ain't finna sit here and tell me Tim Tatman can't get in contact with the studio. You ain't finna sit here and tell me Shroud can't get in contact with the studio. And not only that, to believe that as a studio, they see this kind of stuff happening and they're just choosing not to do nothing about it. That's not true. Them bro, they on vacation, they gonna figure it out and they gonna do what they can to fix it. Obviously, they're gonna have to invest a lot more tools into some anti-cheating and cleaning all that up. But the vast majority of the earth who playing this game ain't dealing with that. You know what I'm saying? You don't like Ninja said, you don't cater to the hardcore. You cater to the casual, because that's the base. That is the base. They buying and playing the game. You don't want to cater to a hardcore, and especially not in a multiplayer game. Especially not in a multiplayer game with this many players. Nope. Now, if you, for example, let's say Concord has still been a thing, and they maybe got, let's not use Concord because it's another game that's out that actually got some like what I'm about to describe going on. Splitgate 2. Splitgate 2 tried to cast too wide a net, didn't work out. The core fan base was unhappy, so they had to go back in and renegotiate some things. Now Splitgate 2 out, Arena Reloaded, and the core fan base is happy. They like what's going on, so then now hopefully that studio ramps up their production and marketing and all the type of stuff, and they build from there. But you can't do that with a game like Arc Raiders because it's so already widely popular. If Splitgate 2 had initially launched and was this widely popular, and even if you had some hardcores complaining and pissing and moaning, they would be fools to start catering because there's too many other players playing and engaging and spending money and just engaging with the game. You can only do that at a small level when the game is small. You know what I'm saying? And obviously cheating is not necessarily just a hardcore gaming issue. That's a everybody issue. But, you know, to kind of leverage the cheating as a means, oh, I'm gonna go play something else and this is fucked and this is this and this is that. The average individual ain't getting stream sniped. 98% of the player base ain't getting stream sniped. You know what I mean? It's a unique issue and it's a you problem. They gonna get to it. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I got for you right now. As far as Arc Raiders, dope game. I enjoy play. I play super casual, but I already knew that I was gonna buy and support the game and support the team. I like Embark. I like the finals. I like what they're doing. I think it's all cool. It's super cool. Everything they're putting together. It's just not a game that I want to know life. It's not a game I want to jump in daily. It's just like, shout out to the boy Wood Trips FJP. We played together this previous weekend, and he was like, we was fucking around, we was having a good time, and we actually just hopped in that bitch to PvP, which was fucking fun and exciting. But he hopped in, he was like, so what do you do in this game? You just collect trash, collect trash. And it was hilarious to me because I took a second, I thought about it. I was like, yeah, that's pretty much what you do. You just hop in that joint, kill some robots and collect trash, then take it back to the spot. You know, craft and, you know, stack resources and that's what you do. But it's fun. Now, lastly, this is the end of the show, and I will be taking a moment. This is the anime corner, the anime section. If you made it this far, I appreciate you for staying all the way through. But one anime, I do watch anime, I enjoy anime, and what I like to do is I let a series, I watch the first episode, then after that I will let a few episodes stack up, and then I'll binge them, and then let a few episodes stack up, and then I'll binge them, and that's how I consume anime. Especially off a recommendation. And this is an anime I had seen being floating around, and shout out to the boy Baldante. He went on ahead and posted it in there with the link, so I went on ahead and clicked the link at that time and added it to my watch list. And I watched it. Super fucking cool. I dig it. I only watched the episode once, and the art style is super dope. It's got that super thin, well, I won't say super thin, but it got that thin line weight to it, very manga-esque, and I like that. The world itself seems super interesting. Go ahead and read the synopsis right here, the description. In a world where heroism is a punishment, Xylo Fabarts, a condemned goddess killer, battles endless hordes of monstrous abominations as part of Penal Hero Unit 9004. Death is no escape, only a cycle of resurrection and relentless combat. But when Xylo encounters a mysterious new goddess, their unlikely alliance sparks a rebellion that could shatter the chains of eternal punishment. Now, the episode kicked off combat, and I like that. I really do, because they grab me on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the type of anime watcher where, you know, you got some people who been watching anime a long time, and they get to where they describe a anime that got a lot of action and fighting and stuff. They describe it as quote unquote meathead shit. You know what I'm saying? And then they go start watching like your slice of life and your other slow like reality kind of stuff that, you know, you can just cut on Netflix and catch Love Island or some bullshit and then get the same type of. I'm not me. I like meathead shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to, because I'm just not interested in that type of entertainment where it's like relationships or cooking, or I just don't give a fuck about that type of shit. I'm gonna keep it all the way true. I don't care. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Now, if it's inside of a show I'm watching, I'm not gonna turn it off. Like, cause I do get that you don't necessarily want all meathead shit. You want a good mix. I like a good mix, but more meathead shit in it. And I think this might be a show, because like I said, I only watched the first episode. This might be a joint where it's a good mix. And they just kicking it off with, you know, the high octane, the blood, the combat, the gore, the magic. Because the main character, this brother is dope. And I do like the fact that they didn't just go with a blonde head type of, or they didn't go with a blonde head. They didn't go with a white haired type of individual, you know, the generic MC that they tend to go to. It's just a gritty dude. Of course, he got a little sidekick, little goofy sidekick, knucklehead type. But the idea or the concept of your punishment is being the hero, I ain't seen nothing like that yet. I ain't heard nothing like that yet. And that's cool to me. And this dude, he is committed to the role. He not running from no scrap. And he not out there aimlessly. He was just trying to get himself killed. Because as they describe, you can die, but you gonna get brought back. You gonna get brought back. And even alluded to, each time you get brought back, you kind of forget a little piece of who you are. And so he not going for that. He out here to drop bodies. This is what he out here to do. Drop bodies. And he don't care for goddesses. He really don't. And I'm in it. I'm in it to win. I'm not going to spend a ton of time speaking about it. Because like I said, I only watched it once. And I didn't really. Because usually I watch like a couple times. But I'm interested. This will be a show that stays on my list. And maybe in future episodes of the podcast, I'll go more in depth into whatever anime I'm watching and that type of deal, just depending on the news for the week or what's coming and going for the week. I just want to, you know, make a first episode, get my thoughts out there about certain things, and then just get back in the swing of things, you know, because this is my new solo joint, and I'm not saying it's gonna stay solo. I could have some guests on here from time to time. But for right now, it's just gonna be me talking some mess, running my mouth about what the comings and the goings. But that's all I got for you right now. Appreciate you coming through. Drop a like, drop a comment, wherever you may be listening to this at, wherever you may be watching this at. You know, participate inside of all the algorithmic things to, you know, push me up there. Catch y'all outside the next one.